This is really the Fighter and the Kid.
Come on, baby. Yes, meth.
Meth. We were talking about meth before.
Ryan and Nic Nemeth.
What's up, fellas?
Hey, what's up?
Thanks for coming down, dudes.
For having us.
We've been talking this whole time, so we're going to make it like we just met. What's up, guys? Great to see you.
Hey, yeah.
What have you guys been up to?
Yeah, besides wrestling,
So much
and a
stuff.
podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, the Nemeth Bros podcast. It's
What's
big.
it called?
Nemeth Bros.
You guys just started it?
About
very
a
recently.
month and a half
Can I
in.
tell you something? You know what the world needs? A couple white guys doing a podcast.
Yes.
That's what we need. Another
Believe,
one.
but yours gonna be good because it's your brothers, the experience. Like you guys cross a bunch of different kind of genres with your wrestling background, the massive WWE fans, comedy fans. Like you guys,
So
you
true.
guys are gonna crush it.
Yeah.
We got some good guests so far.
Yeah,
past months.
we've been lucky that because
Yeah.
we crossed a couple different genres of stuff of wrestling, and he's on TV, on movies, doing stuff in LA. So we have some crossover friends of like Freddie Prinze Jr. was just on our show.
Oh, I love
got-
Freddie,
we
and
love
Freddie's a
Freddie.
WWE.
Dude, he was he's a
yeah.
writer at WWE while I was
he a
He was a writer.
He
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
a
Wow,
writer.
yeah.
He helped
Big
us
time.
with like an acting class. He did all like
He's a great guy, man.
He's just
awesome.
He's the best.
ridiculously nice guy.
Good on podcast too.
Yeah. I known him for a while. We both known him for a while. He told some stories on when we interviewed him that I was like, why have we never heard this before ever? But suddenly
He
put
has
a microphone in front of
stories
him.
for days.
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
great guest.
Yes.
Do you guys feel any pressure? Because with the wrestling fan base, they're rabid or they're crazy, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have to check certain boxes for the wrestling fan base with your podcast? Do they get mad if, because like Ira Hawani, who's a massive show in the MMA space, when he talks about wrestling, the MMA fans get mad.
Right. Yeah. I get
And
it.
if he talks about just, if it's just, or even if I talk about boxing, the MMA fans get mad.
yeah, right.
Yeah, so it's like you have to make sure that you're kind of
Yeah.
checking a certain box.
I like that we don't try and check boxes, but also there's not just two white guys doing a podcast. There's a lot of wrestling podcasts out, like pro wrestling ones, and we're in the business, and we're actually in the same company at the moment, which is pretty awesome at TNA, wrestling together. But like we're not going, well, actually on Monday Night Raw, I didn't care for the storyline or this. We don't do like, we
not getting
don't
to the
do that at all. Like we go, hey,
deep
we
dives.
did this comedy show the night before our wrestling show.
Yeah.
Here's what led to it. Here's how Ryan got screwed on the
Here's-
payday from the other guy. Like we
Not
do all
only
that
are
kind of stuff.
we're not rating and reviewing matches, but we're telling you that the ones that you are rating and reviewing, the wrestlers in the match aren't thinking about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're thinking more like, what time's my flight? Okay. Oh, yeah, headlock. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Like, the night before flying in, I got canceled, so I had to fly to Charlotte and then drive to here and then go here, and then I got there just as my music was playing and I was putting my gear on in the cab and like that kind of stuff.
You're like giving a
Not
behind the
wrestling
scenes
fan.
look,
Yes.
like what goes in. 'Cause- well, it's good because most people don't hear that narrative.
Yes.
But what I always find interesting is because you guys are like, I don't know if you legit wrestlers.
Oh, yeah.
Like legit wrestlers.
D1
like
wrestler over there.
studs.
Yeah.
Studs. Was there any inclination? Obviously, I'll go to this. Was there any inclination to actually not go the like professional wrestling route and get into MMA or do anything more with wrestling?
Probably for you there was. I
A
think.
little bit for me. I was telling Ryan before we started here. I was like, my buddy's older brother showed us. I had an old VHS tape, and it was UFC 1, 2, and 3. And we had like a sleepover after like a grade school. We had wrestling on Friday nights. I have a sleepover at pizza and watch this video. I was like, this is the craziest. Like people forget now. There's what is there 500, 600?
Yeah.
You just UFCs.
It was
1,
shocking.
2, and
It was
3.
shocking.
308.
Like there's just like a dude with like his legs splayed open and just getting punched in the junk.
Yeah.
And by the way, not tapping out at first.
No, gangster.
Yes. And so like there's some crazy wild stuff. And I go, this is the wildest stuff I ever saw. So then when I got to high school, my buddy and I were like,
Was there a ponytail
right.
ripped out at some point?
there's everything
There's
you could.
he would hold the ponytail.
Yeah.
You can't do that anymore. It's
Yeah.
illegal, but there was no holds barred for a
You
while.
remember Pride? You'd see soccer kicks and teeth go everywhere. Crazy shit.
But what
rules.
year did you graduate high school?
98.
Okay. So it wasn't big yet, but
Yeah.
so it wasn't kind of an option really for wrestlers yet?
Right, it wasn't, but it was also like we knew about it and we kept up with it. So we would do wrestling stuff, and then at the end of practice, me and two of my buddies, Kleppel is one of them, and another guy, we would at least go like, okay, no punch in the face, but like let's try and tap each other out or just hit ribs and
Yeah.
stuff, and we'd roll around and get 3 black and blue shots down the ribs, and like, all right, now let's try one little one for the face, just have a black eye to go out on Friday night.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of cool to have a black eye, but it was just like, I thought that was wild, and I go, people forget, everyone knows it now, it's so mainstream. It was not. It was this crazy thing that I couldn't believe.
You're
it
an
was
outlaw if you
legit
did it.
the blood sport movies.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was real life happening, and it was so cool.
It's actually kind of shocking.
Yeah, it really was.
As Rogan once said, it's as close you can come to seeing two people try to kill each other with their bare hands.
Yeah.
Like it really is. And
it wasn't like weight
We're not
classes,
used to
right?
that
Not
now.
back
It was
then.
just,
No, just
this
go.
guy and this guy just
Human cockfight.
Yeah.
I mean, vale tudo in Brazilian means anything goes.
Man.
And those fights in Brazil, and also just pride back in the day was insane.
But then, because with you guys like legit wrestling credentials, at what point were you like, oh, I'm going to go professional wrestling? Because it's wrestling, but it's not like the collegiate or freestyle wrestling you're doing.
Well, hey, I just remembered when you talked about high school practice, you were maybe helping coach when you were done with college or midway through college. There was times when you would like wait till everybody left the high school wrestling room and go, "Hey, spear me a couple times.
Oh, yeah.
Give me a couple stunners." And I was like,
Oh,
"Why?
cool.
I want to see if I can learn how to." And I was
So,
like,
taking
"All
like
right."
bumps on like the 1-inch wrestling mats
Yeah.
instead of the
Yeah,
you know
the big padded.
where you should be
Yeah.
taking bumps. But I also read Mick Foley's book where he was
He's great.
jumping over the hood of his car and landing on the ground. So I did the same thing a couple times in a row. Just had a back full of like half golf balls. For no reason, going into like my trial, like I'm gonna be so ready. Like it was nothing
But you
like
didn't
that.
want
I'll be
any
so
of the,
ready.
I just had a really sore back before we
I'm
started.
so ready for
Yeah.
this.
Didn't want any of the esteemed, acclaimed St. Edward High School coaches to see this.
Yeah, I didn't want
Yeah,
anyone to know because
Everyone's going, "All right, give me a stunner."
How's it? Because I don't know like professional wrestling. I was a fan of it as a kid, but then I just didn't follow it, the storylines, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But to me, is it like frowned upon? Like if you go from like legit wrestling, like freestyle wrestling, you guys were both studs, setting records, and then to go now we
Look
can
at
say
Kurt Angle.
we can say it's scripted,
Sure.
but it's still, I mean, pretty gnarly shit.
Probably back
Yeah.
when you were wanting to do it in high school and college, it was frowned upon to do
Yes,
that.
it was a hilarious. Like everybody knew that. Like, so I went to. My dad took me to a show when I was 5. It was the Richfield Coliseum. Cleveland didn't even have an arena. That's where the Cavs played. And I go, "Hey, I want to wrestle." And he goes, "Okay." So at 5, he signed me up for wrestling, which I thought would be pro wrestling, and it was not. But I swear, I walked
You're
in.
doing the hacksaw. And
Yeah, I was waiting. I'm like, I walked in and it's just some mats on the ground. I go, "Where's the ring?" He goes, "If you get good at this, maybe one day." Okay, whatever. So I tried it. And at the time, before Kurt was big.
And you're the only kid that ever worked for. You're like, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, "This
Only
is the
person in history.
Yes.
the only kid was like, this
Every
is what
day
it
saying
takes."
that.
Yeah.
He's just like, what? It worked.
Practicing alone.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, what do you have face paint on?
Yeah. I thought there was gonna be a ring and
The
chairs and all this
thing.
stuff, and it was nothing. I go, it's like drop steps across from
Yeah.
all the way. I'm like, this sucks. And nobody watches wrestling. Like,
No.
it's you do all this hard work and no one's there for it.
Toughest
But-
sport in the world.
Yes, and so
No
before
cheerleaders.
Kurt was a big deal, most of it was very much frowned upon. Luckily, Kurt was breaking in and becoming like world champion as an Olympic gold medalist, so it gave me a little bit of credibility to like me wanting to do it. But everyone was like, "Oh, that fake shit. Who cares?" And I go, "I'm gonna have a job when I get out of here. Maybe
Yeah.
the rest of us might not."
It's also
Yeah.
physically, like Kurt Angle told me, that he broke his neck. He said, "I have more injuries from professional wrestling
Oh,
than
yeah.
from Olympic." Like
No,
from
it's
being
no
an Olympian.
joke. Yeah.
Like that's crazy. Like he said, like he broke his neck.
Yes.
And when you look at it, like I was watching the Vince McMahon doc, and I've never been into WWE, but I swear to God, watching it, it made me want to be. It made me want to go back because I love that drama, and it looks like
yeah.
such a fucking blast because the theatrics, but the athleticism. Like, say what you will about Logan Paul, that motherfucker doing those backflips, and he's
Athletic kid.
He's athletic,
Yes.
but more importantly, when you're doing that crazy stuff, and I was watching those guys, how much of that, it's got to be choreographed. Are you able to go through it? I know this is a common question, but are you able to go through it? Because it didn't look like that. It looked like these guys were in there and they're like, they're talking to each other while they're doing it. Yeah.
Right. It's a little bit of both. One, say it's Logan Paul or something like you gotta rehearse that and go through it because he's not on the road doing the.
I think he was pretty open about it. He showed clips of him practicing.
He's like,
Yeah, he showed clips
Practicing.
of like jumping through the table and stuff.
And then there's
Stuff like
different
that.
levels of it. Like that, for him to not be around and he's there for 2 days and you have a big pay-per-view match, maybe WrestleMania, you got to go through all the steps over and over.
And even if you've choreographed that move, like the day of, you can just
Things go wrong.
Yeah,
Tighten
or
up.
there's
Stuff is
something on the
weird.
rope.
Tighten up, or
Or somebody's
footings
shoulder
a
goes
little
out
off.
and you can't do
Or
it. Like,
the rope isn't exactly how it has to be, and you just whatever.
Yeah.
There's different levels to it. And say it's me and someone else who's been wrestling 15 years. We can just see each other at the building and go, The one finish where you do the twist, yeah, got it, and then we can just go out there, and
That's
even at a
good.
main event, and we could talk the whole time or not at all.
Oh,
and
you
it's-
can't talk the whole time. 'cause
Yeah.
they're like, yeah.
But when it comes to like pay-per-views or big, where everyone, the focus is on you and it's a big build-up, almost everybody has to rehearse and rehearse and rehearse because it is all for the production angle, the shots, to make sure the timing is right for
It's
when this
great.
guy comes out. So you have to make
it's
that
great.
show.
And I don't think people know the ins and out of it. Like I think when I was in the UFC, it's not that I didn't respect it. I was also trying to get a fight with Brock Lesnar, so I was like, he's doing fake wrestling. I'm gonna beat the shit out of this guy. He's faking it. And then I had friends, and then I started meeting people that were part of like that world. And Bobby Lashley came into the gym because we're both from Colorado, or he lived in Colorado. And we started training together, and I was like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of this guy. He's a fake wrestler, man. Dude, Bubba, have you seen that? He's built like a Ninja Turtle, first of all.
Had you
He has,
physical?
he has a shell on his back.
Let me see.
Hold on, dude. You never seen Bobby Lashley?
No.
Oh, but
He's
you're gonna jack off to him tonight,
He's
dude.
a real
He loves
life
black
action
guys, dude.
figure.
Like a
He's
superhero.
a genuine action figure.
I'm a gay man.
Oh, bud.
I mean, I'm straight. Oh, Jesus. Let me get my hand down.
He's not even flexing in these
That's
pictures, by the way.
ridiculous.
That's just what he looks like.
Are you fucking
now
kidding
Now
me?
he actually fought in MMA and like legit, dude. Bud, when
And
I
he's all
tell you,
natural.
no, hold on. When I tell you, we couldn't take him down.
What?
I've never seen him. I've seen everybody get taken down. He went with me and Shane Carwin. We're both. I'm ranked number 10 in the world at the time. Shane might be the world champion at the time. Monsters are in there. Monsters. Todd Duffy. All these monsters. All heavyweights. No one could come remotely close to
couldn't take him down. You couldn't double leg him. Couldn't.
No, what? He laughed at my double leg.
What?
Shane couldn't take him down. No, it was a thing. It was like, who's going to take Bobby down? No one could take him down.
Because obviously he had experience as a wrestler.
Yeah, I think he was a military champion.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he
armed
was
forces.
training in Colorado. I think he was like
He was at the Olympic Center.
at the Olympic Training Center, something along the lines like 7th or 9th on the ladder at the time. Because
Still.
I went for my tryout, my dream job. So I said when I was 5 years old. It goes, it's you and one other guy when you get there. And they go, look for a guy named Bobby. And I'm like, so I'm at like waiting at the car rental place, like, and I'm sitting there for a long time, like, you can't be Bobby Lashley, right? And he goes, yeah, why? I go, fuck. I go, I'm having a tryout with a human action figure. I just wrestled 165 a month earlier, and I'm like,
He's a human action.
I go, this is my dream job, and I would pick you to win over
Yeah.
the two of us. Like, I'm
He's a
screwed.
monster.
I like
tall
that
is he?
description of look for a
Maybe
guy named
6 foot.
Bobby instead of look for a gigantic, enormous muscle man.
Dude,
I mean, that guy looks
nicest guy ever. Trained his ass off.
sweetheart, yeah,
He
yeah.
trained with Josh Barnett a lot, and I talked to Josh, my buddy. I'm like, hey, do you have problems with Lashley? He's like, oh, dude, no one gets him down. I'm like, right? I'm a fucking freak.
That's
Oh
great.
my God.
Freak, great
Yeah.
guy too.
Jesus
Great guy.
Christ.
Freak. So I met Bobby, so I was like, all right, there's something to this. These guys are the real deal. And then I became really close friends with Eve, who was the Diva World Champion.
Yeah, yeah.
She married one of my instructors, one of my best friends, Henner. And I started talking to her about W, and she's like, oh, buddy, I was on the road 300 days a year, nonstop. She's like, and it's like people think it's all glamorous. She's like, I was champion. We'd fly into a city. I would have to book my own flights and everything. They pay you back, but just so we'd get there, I'd book all my own flights. I'd have to rent a car, drive to, say, Iowa. Then the next match, the next day would be in Minnesota. I'd have to drive there, book my hotel. She's like, you'd go all around the circuit 300 days a year. Like just crazy shit.
Legit no off season. They got the flights, but they pick the flights, you take whatever they give you, and then it's like you do drive every night. Before COVID, it was Friday morning, fly into a city, set up everything, get your rental car, do whatever, do the match that night, 300 miles somewhere else, do everything together. Sunday, do 300 miles, and then Monday we do TV, and it's like a 16-hour day. You got to be there all day. Then Tuesday you do SmackDown TV that was taped for Friday, and then Wednesday you go home. And then it was like 5 full days a week, unless you're doing PR work, which myself, Sheamus, Kofi, Bobby even, we would stay on the road sometimes. And there's no off season, and it was an older, different time to where, like, hey, my best friend's getting married. They're like, do you want us to tell Vince that you want to take off Saturday?
Jesus.
And you're like, okay, never mind. I'll go. And it was like, that was a much different time. That was a way different time. But it was like 300 days a year.
You got to figure out when to eat,
And
when to
there's-
work out.
It's
Yeah.
a grind.
all that.
It's a grind.
And it's a little
I complain
tricky
about
getting the
being on the
workouts
road
in,
as a
yeah.
comic. I'm like, I have to fly to Calgary, and then I have to sit there and
Yeah.
like I have to perform for 2 hours at night. And he
Yeah,
needed a good
I know
restaurant.
got like professional out like studs in the NFL were like, I can do WWE, and they went down to the WWE center in Orlando.
Yeah.
And after like 3 days, like, I'm good.
Yeah, there's
Like, fuck.
Well,
this.
also people say, "Oh, it's rehearsed. You're working together. You're not really fighting." Well, if you get slammed, you can not hurt for a minute, but it's like thousands of those.
Yeah,
So eventually that
you
just
start
sucks,
getting
you know?
concussions.
Yeah. Also that.
And then did you get into it because your brother was into it?
Yeah, I kind of like had. I wasn't 5 years old wanting to be a pro wrestler, you know. But I love.
what a baby.
I just,
Yeah,
I like
whatever.
watching it. I never thought of that as a. You can't. That's not like go to school to be this. You know, that didn't seem like a thing you could do. But he was pretty set on it. I was like, we all were just around him going, all right, yeah, maybe someday. But
Yeah.
it's on TV. That's not a thing you can do.
Yeah.
But, apparently. So
Apparently.
Let's take a little break. For most of us that like collecting cards, the idea of spending $2,000 or more on a freaking Luka card, a Mahomes rookie card, Ohtani rookie card just isn't in the cards. I love collecting, but that's some serious cheddar. Thanks to slap packs from arenaclub.com, now it's possible to score gem mints from a fraction of the retail price. Every card that I listed was a hit from last week's Arena Club slap pack drop. Arena Club is the only repack that provides real value, complete view of all possible cards, and a clear hit rate for each one. Arena Club slap packs are revolutionizing the repack game with the transparency. The Arena Club grading process is accurate, fast, transparent. Whether you're buying, selling, trading, or displaying, Arena Club is the card collecting platform you gotta check out. Right now, you get 10% off your first slap pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/fighter and use the code FIGHTER. That's arenaclub.com/fighter, code FIGHTER for 10% off your first purchase.
So
Apparently.
I was doing this other track of like I was more into like I wrestled and played rugby in college. I was into writing and the acting and comedy kind of stuff, theater, whatever. And then we would go see his minor league matches on Wednesdays. My college was right an hour and a half from where he was training in WWE. So on Wednesday nights, the rugby team would drive to go watch him wrestle. Hopefully,
Oh, that's cool.
So we'd all load up in the car and go nuts and party and loved it. And I was watching, thinking, oh wait, maybe this is kind of a possible thing.
Yeah.
You like being in front of a crowd.
Performance.
You're some kind of athlete at least, And as the next few years went on, I thought maybe. And the more I go visit him in the minor league systems where he was at, and then seeing, the guys on SmackDown are in this little show. It's like how you get there. Like, all right. And I thought I'm not gonna bank on him helping me, but I'm gonna try to do it on my own. So I went to the training place he was at on my own without WWE, just trying to learn. Because I thought I got to try it. If I don't like it, I'm not gonna be like, this is my life,
Yeah.
Then I just fucking loved it. Man. It was.
You did.
It was
Got the
perfect.
bug.
You just loved it.
Well,
Checks kind of all the boxes. For
Yeah.
if you went to school to be like you're down to write, it's creative.
Yeah.
There's an entertainment aspect to it.
Yeah.
There's also athletic side to it. So it's kind of
100%.
you're kind of
and
perfect.
in all of those different categories, like in high school wrestling, in college rugby, I never felt like I love every part of this. I
Yeah.
thought, there's parts I do like.
Yeah.
In the theater department in college, I never thought I fit in here perfect,
Yeah.
But that like blend of show business, athletics, carnival lifestyle,
Yeah, it's
weird
cool.
ass
It makes
people
sense.
from all like
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
felt perfect,
most of
yeah.
the guys, I always thought of it as guys who are giants, like giants,
Mm-hmm.
legit giants, and most of them are, right? And you guys are not big guys,
Yeah.
That's got to be.
The last 100 years, it was just like big guys with a beer belly that
Yeah.
could eat hot dogs
Strong.
and drink beers and just knock some punch out a
Yeah.
horse or something.
Yeah.
Then
and
it
then
got
it slowly
athletic.
became
It got athletic.
slightly smaller. Like they wanted like a more
Acrobatic kind
yeah.
of
It became more and more where you have to work out, and a lot of people are like, we happen to do athletes that do things, but so many people are like, they're comic book nerds that love wrestling and they're
Yeah.
in it too.
Yeah.
That's so many different pieces of it, but it just slowly morphed into, you got to be able to be the strong guy, but also tap somebody out, but also be able to take a punch right to the face,
And
but
also
also
talk really well.
Talk really well.
Yeah,
And also
cut
be able to-
talking is
promo.
huge.
yeah, that's
Cut a promo.
way more. It's
Yes.
wrestling is the least important part of
Theatrics.
professional
You gotta be able to,
wrestling.
you got to be able to talk trash.
It's a real deal. You got to be good at it.
How do they decide? Like, is it up to you who's a baby face, who's a heel?
It depends.
Like, how, there's
it-
just like your vibes heel, man.
a really funny thing was when you're first taught, like the first day of class, it's like, okay, here's the basic things, and you're usually taught to be a baby face because in the old days and territory days, the heels led the match. They were just like, okay, now give me a punch here, do this thing. Okay, roll me up. This is the finish. All these, they called all the shots because they got to time out when they wanted the crowd up and down. And when you're trained as a babyface. Lance Storm was my teacher, and he goes, man, you're kind of a dick. I'm just going to train you as a heel. I went, okay. So it kind of worked out for me, but also that really was the case where you just listened and it depended. And then in the old days of WWE, I was training. They said, Kurt Angle's doing great. We're looking into you, maybe kind of like a mentor thing where he'll be like that karate movie where it's like the Chuck Norris and the kid. It's like, I was like, oh my God, this is a dream come true. They go, keep your hair short.
Part of the theatrics.
Yes. They go, keep your hair short. Don't get any tattoos. And we'll do a thing maybe where it's like, he becomes your mentor. And I'm like, this is a dream come true. And then one day they just called and said, hey, you're going to be a golf caddy tomorrow. We don't know what that totally has to do, but try and find some golf clothes.
That's Vince McMahon going, I don't know, maybe you can be a golf caddy.
Yeah, really, yeah.
Probably.
Yes.
Sadly, that was the case.
How much interaction do you have with Vince?
In the old days, a little here and there, but once I got some equity built into, he could trust me with people out there, and like even like working Roman Reigns, who was like, before he became the all-time 10,000 years in a row of not losing and being the guy, it was just something like he was on the way and I was helping. And much like the old days, like I kind of called it and put his pieces in there, especially if he had a busy day and it's like, he's got 7 interviews and you guys are the main event, just take care of it and put him in. Like, okay, I'd do all these things. We'd have a great match. He'd win, obviously. And then I'd come to the back and the boss you'd be able to have a little more interaction with him. Because like, I was there to be able to make this happen a little bit. Like, he's great, Roman's friggin' awesome, but when you're really, really good and our size, you get to have more opportunities to do some things. So that's when I got that relationship with him, like, where I could kind of like, Vince, this doesn't make any sense. And the reason I think it doesn't make any sense is because you taught me 10 years ago that this doesn't make any sense. And it would like fight back and forth, but in a positive way to make the show better. And you get more of his ear the more you've proven yourself out there. So
and he was a genius, huh?
Yeah,
ridiculously. And to have that plan to take all the territories and go national, like
also, by the way,
thing.
Funny and also really good as a character himself.
The most ridiculous, believable, and for a good reason, bad guy character. Yes,
well, he's painted as this bad guy now with all the stuff that's come out.
But even in the old days,
but having watched that documentary, first of all, what he's done is incredible. And to be a boss, you've got to be a bit of a dick, right? You got to make choices. Now, I'm not talking about the other stuff. He's obviously into weird sexual stuff. Right. I don't give. Business-wise, you
got to be an asshole.
But in terms of business and what he built, you've got to admire it. And the fact that he was able to be sort of like the heel, make fun of himself, be a huge part of the show. He was doing everything.
Yeah, Dana took his workshop. Like, there's no UFC. They're not at the level if he didn't follow Vince McMahon's game plan.
Yeah.
Like, the UFC's game plan is the exact same as WWE's.
Yeah. Right.
It's to a T.
Do you think overall, my guess is he's just a very complicated character.
Yeah, I mean, that's easy to say, but I think he's just so focused on business. We all thought for years, like, he's going to die in the chair at 150.
Yeah.
And jacked.
With the headset on.
And jacked, but he's going to be in that chair till the end because he loves it so much. And when he's, once in a while when he couldn't be there, we'd be like, okay, cool. What do we do now? Like, it's worse because he's on the phone and he can't be there. So it's like way worse than him. But
you mean now he's still running things, but it's by
no, a couple years ago. Okay. He's out now.
Years ago when he took a leave of absence, he was still doing it, but
I'm ignorant. Why did he take a leave of absence years ago?
I don't exactly know.
But hey, man,
figure it out.
Issues. Yeah, right.
But he's
a complicated man.
Before all the complicated man part, but even before all that, once in a great while, because he's also running the $1 billion business, he couldn't be there on a Monday or something because he was somewhere else
doing everything.
Yeah, doing everything. So even then, it would be like, okay, we don't have him today, so we can just get through. It's like, no, he's on the phone. Like, we gotta.
He's an extraordinary guy.
Like, he can't take a vacation and take a day off.
But didn't Triple H step in for him? Yes. And I heard a lot of wrestlers like, yes, like Triple H knows
Smart
the business.
Guy, Triple H.
He's married to his daughter, right?
Yes. Yeah, and it was.
I know certain wrestlers like Triple H is actually really good at this.
It's he's got a good. I feel like he's been right next to him for so long that he got to pick up like what works and what's great.
Oh yeah.
Like and what really helps, I think, at a certain point, Vince, no matter how hands-on and genius, when you get to the 70s and 80s, you don't have your finger on the pulse of what's cool.
No, you're a fossil.
And if everybody around you most of them are just saying, yeah, boss,
They're
you're
scared,
right.
yeah.
I like this job. So yes, you're right.
Yeah.
And so it really helps having someone like Hunter be 30 years younger and be like, hey, maybe we go with this.
Yeah.
There's this cool rap guy out there that has 1 billion album sales all of a sudden. He goes, I don't know who that is. You're not supposed to know who that is, but everybody watching the show does.
Well, you haven't watched a TV show or a movie in 3 decades.
Yeah.
So of course you don't know. You
So
only
it's-
watch.
it
yeah.
really helps.
That's when they brought in Bad Bunny, who's massive
Bro,
culturally. And
great.
he's such a WWE fan, so you
Yeah.
bring him in.
What a
so then
win
you bring in
for
more
everybody.
young fans.
Right.
Logan Paul probably doesn't happen without
You gotta
Triple
do it.
H.
You
Like,
gotta
yeah.
do it,
Yeah.
My question is, I watched that documentary. I don't know if you have, but Bret Hart seems like a very sour, like kind of soured on the business. He seems very broken about the business. And there's this thing where Vince doesn't tell him that that he rings the bell, and
Oh,
Bret
yeah.
ends up losing the title in his
Montreal screw
hometown
job.
in Montreal. Yeah,
Got an insider in the room.
I love this
Bret-
description
Bret-
because every wrestling fan who's watching this will be like,
It's cringing.
you know what the Montreal
Yeah,
is?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
This is a normal.
this is so much better to
but
hear it this
for
way.
me,
This is great.
for me, I'm like, hey, bro. He spits in Vince McMahon's face. I guess he punched him out. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, you took this really seriously. You
the
lost
Hart
a
family,
fake
yeah.
wrestling title.
Yeah.
And it really makes you mad that happened. And I'm like, you need to, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sir. You need to calm down. You had the title stripped, but you were retiring anyway, right? Like, what are we doing?
There's a
here?
lot that goes
And
into
he
it.
said,
Yeah, there's
but
a
he
lot
said,
of
I'm not going to lose my title in my hometown. You're not the boss.
Right, yeah.
That's not your title anyway. It was like, what are we talking about?
You
This
gotta
is where
realize
we get a
the
little
Hart
crazy.
family's like, I mean,
I
So-
understand,
Yeah.
but do you know what I'm saying?
especially in Calgary, you're just in Calgary. That's
Yeah.
where they're at. Like you're
Yeah.
talking about, like the Hart family's like a staple in wrestling.
I'm sure they are. I'm saying though,
They're
I'm
like
saying
the
This is
man-
a rational perspective.
Yes.
Yeah.
this is called
Yeah.
theatrics, and you lost. We got to take the title from you,
Yeah.
because that's what fucking
you-
makes sense theatrically.
You're leaving
Yes.
the
And you're in your
company
hometown.
also.
Let them mourn, and you're the hero.
Yeah.
But it was like he lost. He got screwed over a real competition, like a real,
Yes.
like you fixed the World Series.
But there's probably a lot going on there too. Because remember, his brother also died.
Yeah.
Died.
his brother died.
After.
Oh, you just found that out.
How did his brother die?
Oh, no.
Did you
Oh,
watch the
fuck.
documentary?
Oh, from falling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was his brother?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was his brother. I didn't.
Hey, bro,
Yeah.
if you're gonna jump in the pool,
Okay. I'm that.
his brother
I'm a
died.
layman,
His brother
Bubba.
died doing a stunt, fell from the top.
I didn't know it was
Vince
his
McMahon.
brother.
They drag him out.
And he kept
So-
going.
And he goes, show has to go on.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And there's blood on the
show
mat.
must go on.
Yeah. So he's on the mat. That's weird.
But it's true.
Yeah,
That's
but
a Queen song.
Yeah. But
'Cause he had AIDS and he kept-
there's blood on the mat. They're wheeling Hart through, and wrestlers are like, "What the fuck?" They're like, "Hey, show gets to go on." The Rock is doing a promo, and you can see the blood on the mat. It's wild. But to Vince's point, he goes, "It's a business. The people in the arena paid for a show.
Yes.
We're not going to do them disservice. They didn't see it because the lights were out."
Can I just say this? I'm sorry, but as when it comes to show business, if you're doing a show, if you're doing a Broadway show, if you're doing a huge concert, the show must go on.
Yeah.
And that is, if someone dies, which is horrible, you're not stopping the show. Like in other words, I remember when Phil Hartman was killed on news radio. He was
murdered
killed.
by his wife.
He was murdered by his wife. They didn't cancel that show. They replaced him with John Lovitz because the show will go on. We all mourn. We take time. It's
The only difference is this is live though.
No, I
it's
get
not
it,
a
but
scripted
especially
show
with live
that day.
shows, especially with live shows with a stadium full of people.
And I bet if you ask
finish
the
the show.
audience, I bet if you ask, like, "Hey, should we stop? We think he might have died."
Of course.
I bet all of them like keep going. You know?
Well, or you don't let the audience know.
That's what Vince
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, and then after that, you take it in.
But that's
with all
why
due
that's
respect
that's
to
why
anybody,
Brett.
like,
Sure.
That's
the
why
Hart
Brett's
family.
probably a little salty because there's
Of course.
that, and then remember he was suing Vince, and then they did a whole look into everything, and it was a faulty. It had nothing to do with Vince and
Got it.
WWE.
Yeah,
it was a faulty system, and
Yeah,
they
of
sued
course.
that company.
Yes,
I'm sure.
But also, two things can be true back at the Bret Hart stuff, to where Bret takes it a little more seriously than a character on a TV show should. But also with wrestling, you're that person all the time. You're Phil Hartman on news radio when he's at the diner. You still have to
Correct.
be and have to have it in your brain that you're live on the show as this character. So Bret, one of the greatest of all time, period. He's awesome. But also sometimes when you're in the old days through now, if you're leaving a company, who can I help pass the torch to when I leave? You don't have to have that attitude, but that's part of the
that's
show.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that's how it goes.
You're leaving,
And he
dude. You're gonna lose your title.
Yeah, I can't lose in the country that I was born in. I go, well, if I did that, I would be 5,000-0, but you can't have that because you go, everyone else who left before you passes
If I had been Vince McMahon, I would have said, hey, yeah, you can. Yeah, you will.
Yeah.
I own this company, and that's how it goes.
Yeah.
And I would remind him that it's not a real
That's what he
title.
did, right?
So we probably, as far as Brett tells it,
Yeah.
told him one thing and then did another. Maybe that's.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
So-
100%.
You will
Also,
win.
also
yeah.
that's fine too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, that's okay too.
Yeah. If you're out of options, you get it through. You go, I still got to
Oh.
I got to deliver this awesome main event. I have to have these pieces fall into place. I have to have him not be on the show anymore.
It's your
And-
last show.
And this guy's going to be the champ. We got to have
You're
it
not
work.
retiring the champion.
Yeah.
You got to lose. Damn, I pass it on. Like, that's what happens in the UFC when you're like Izzy Adesanya, one of the greatest ever. He lost. He's like, I think I'm walking away. Then he was like, I'm not going to walk away. But there's something really, the sweet poetic justice. It's time for me to pass the torch because I lost in this incredible epic match. And he's not tapping? Come on.
Yeah.
Also, you're going to go to a
Are
different
you not?
company.
How
after
come
that.
how come you're being a little bit? You're a little. I need you behind me on this, bro.
No, 'cause-
I don't like that. I don't like that you're fucking going like this. Like, why are you doing?
Because we already covered it.
What do you mean?
We keep going back and back
Oh,
to it.
yeah.
Yeah, but do you agree with
No,
that?
I'm with you. Yeah,
I guess you don't
but
really-
it's also but that was also 30
But that's
years.
kind of what I
It was
mean.
also 30 years
That's
ago.
what I
yeah.
mean, though.
Yeah.
I'm just like, you
they've
know.
moved on, though. You know. Yeah.
This is important, guys, when it comes to hymns, all right? A lot of times, I think it's like 40% of men under 40 experience some kind of erectile dysfunction, all right? And hymns is essentially, I mean, obviously your sex life is very important, but hymns, you can get a personalized erectile dysfunction treatment without stepping your foot outside. You don't have to go to a doctor, wait in a room. It's all embarrassing. Hymns is basically changing men's healthcare by providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. I used to use them for my hair. I used to get my Propecia, and it comes in sort of an unmarked box because people think, it's hair, it's sexual stuff, it's embarrassing. So you don't have to worry about that. You just answer a series of questions on their site, and a medical provider will determine the right treatment option. If prescribed, your medication ships directly to you in discreet packaging for free, like I said. No insurance is needed, and one low price care covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. All right. So start your free online visit today. Go to hims.com/fighter. That's HIMS.com/fighter for your personal ED treatment options. That's hims.com/fighter. And they've also got a whole bunch of other stuff for your hair, etc. All things wellness. The products mentioned are chewable compound products which are not approved by or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if it's appropriate. Restrictions apply. So see website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Yeah.
I will offer a little perspective back on the Vince thing. I was in NXT, which is the maybe you'll be in WWE and Raw.
Like the
or something.
feeder league?
Yeah, I was in that for 3 years, and Vince was nowhere near that. It was Triple H and John Laurinaitis, but his decrees was maybe like whispering something to someone in the chair at Raw. I don't know, but it would feed down. He was so in control of everything that we would, on Monday, would be like, hey, no more punches. What? No one can throw a punch? Yeah, Vince said he doesn't like him anymore. What? Did he release? I'm always like, did he say
Did he actually
no more?
say that? Yeah.
Yeah, or did
Weirdly,
someone...
even though it was a game of telephone at the old days, that was a real thing.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
There we go.
Like,
Confirmed.
no
Your
more
brother's
multiple
like, that's
punches.
actually real.
Or everybody
Don't
should have
throw a
their
punch.
hands up because
Yeah.
it's real now.
Yeah, hands up.
Well, we're also
Yep,
doing a
I remember
TV
that.
show. When you watch Rocky, all those punches.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's
they're
not
sitting there
technical.
Yeah.
Squeezing
It's
one
bad.
down.
It's bad for
down like this
Yeah.
and all haymakers.
Yeah.
It's like,
Loopy punches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and then it would be like the next week. Oh, by the way, if a ref is counting to 5, you have to count. If you get to 5, otherwise we're fining you. And so the refs would start, like, our matches on house shows and NXT would just end in DQs all night long because it has to be real now. And I would think, is it? Shut it. It's not real. People come to this because it's not real. What do we do?
Yeah.
What do you
But,
mean?
And so that Laurinaitis, just so you know, that Laurinaitis who's like, wrestling, legendary royalty. His son, badass football player.
Really?
Oh, dude.
Ohio State?
Played at Ohio State, starting linebacker, captain, then went to the Rams, first round draft pick, like superstar.
So my experience, my only experience with is I worked with Bill Goldberg a lot because he played my brother on a show called Schooled and Goldbergs and all. And we had this football game. We were playing this football game where I was quarterback and he was my brother. And he was playing defense. And he said to me, he goes, I'm going to come for your head, so duck.
Oh, God.
So he would come and like swing, and I'd have to duck. The one thing I got from him, and I'm telling you, he was hitting those stuntmen so hard.
Oh my God.
And he said to them, he goes, you just come at me, I'm gonna hit you. And I'm telling you, dude, he was running full speed, Bubba, and hitting them. He's 265, and hitting them, and these guys were sturdy. And you could hear the impact of the meat. And it was so over the top, and he's just balls to the wall.
You know, he played football at Georgia.
I know.
Yeah.
We also played in the NFL for 7 years. So, like, feeling him hit like that, and I said to Bill, I'm not even the stunt coordinator. I go, dude, don't hit them that hard, please. Don't, because you're so big and strong that these guys were all 200, but he's just different. He's a different athlete.
Yes.
But,
Yeah,
but I was like, is that how you guys would do things? Because when he would he would jump and do somersaults. He was doing all his own stunts. Because the stunt guy, he ended up doing his stunts because the stunt guy couldn't do what he was doing because he's that
Yeah, he's a
athletic.
freak.
And he was at the time he was 53.
Yeah, he's a freak.
I'm telling you, man. I was like, I can't imagine fighting you in the WWE because I'm sure he was pulling his punches,
He's
but
a freak.
You're getting hurt. You're getting hit.
So I obviously with my MMA background, I know if someone came to me and was like, hey, I want to get to the UFC, I can go, you go here, you start here, you win here, you go here. When it comes to getting to be a WWE superstar, if my son is out there right now, he's 8. He said, hey, when I'm old enough, what's the steps I have to get to do to get to the WWE? Where do you start? Like, how would someone get started? How do they get there?
Kind of changes every few years.
Yes.
There's not like one path.
Yeah,
Because
no,
if someone
there's
goes
so
on
many
and play in the NFL, it's like, all right, play high school football, get really good, get a scholarship, play college, get drafted.
And now with the NIL deals, WWE is kind of doing a similar thing. If they find somebody with some my time, there was like no Wi-Fi. We barely had cell phones. So it was
preach.
word of mouth or some handwritten email came down or whatever the hell. Now it is like they go, hey, if you're interested in here, you could just click on WWE.com and go to a thing and just say you're interested. And if they find...
Put me in your database. Yeah.
Yes, if they find athletes out there who are doing great at gymnastics, football, lacrosse, anything, some of them become NIL athletes that are going to be training here. And there's so many different ways to do it. They have... Their training facility is ridiculous. It's like a
just the one in Orlando.
Yeah,
is it just the Orlando spot?
And I think they're looking for some other bases. But there's so much stuff that, like the teachers there are insanely awesome.
So wait, real quick, let me stop. So let's say you do that and you get sent to that school. You would train for how long?
It really depends. You could train for 6 months, and they go, "Hey, man, this guy's got something special,"
ready,
and then we could always cover up anything that he can't do.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of people like me who can work around people.
Vets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even like I had a match with Goldberg where it was just him spearing me a bunch, and I worked around it, and no matter how real it is to him, I made it into a job at some point.
But he made it, getting speared by Goldberg.
But
very real.
So then they say you're ready, but you wouldn't go straight to the big leagues.
Very
You would
likely not. You would probably do something that was on. Now their minor league TV show is on television.
It's on CW now.
2 hours, 2 hours
That's
a week,
wild.
and it's like. Now you're getting, instead of the old, you're showing vignettes of someone coming to the show in 6 or 8 weeks to get people affiliated with them. Now
building
you
them
just
up.
have a TV show that goes, here's the vignettes of these people, here's the matches they have. And when they show up, you're already a star when you walk out the door. To some. 'Cause it's and they get 500,000 or 1 million people watching the show a week, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
But it's, you introduce that to your audience, and it's slowly becoming just like that's the system.
And is
If
it
you
like
can
it
get
is
there.
back in the day? Is it like it's regional shows, so you get big in your region and then you would go to another?
Well, it's sort of like NXT is the only region, kind of.
Right. They do bounce around.
Yeah.
But they're in Florida, but they do bounce around. But that's where you got to be, unless you're Logan Paul or somebody.
Yeah.
Or somebody
the other
else.
option is be Bad Bunny and just be massive.
Yeah, and just jump in
And
there.
if you once mentioned,
Jelly
like,
Roll.
hey, I like WWE, they're just like, they're very
Wanna
like
wrestle in
to a
WrestleMania
fault.
this year?
Yeah. What are you
You
doing?
want to jump the
WrestleMania?
line and jump in WrestleMania?
He
And
had
like
a
that
great match with Snooki at WrestleMania.
That's right.
Snooki.
Snooki was
Yeah.
in it. Boy, they're doing whatever it takes. But with a guy like Logan Paul who jumps on the scene,
Yeah.
in the wrestling community, are you guys? It's similar. Like when Brock Lesnar came over the UFC, we were kind of like, fuck that guy, because he didn't earn like this.
Yeah,
he didn't come
yeah,
up the same way. Or in comedy, you do comedy. It's like your fan base is different. You didn't start at open mics and you didn't
Right.
work the door at the comedy store, so you can get that hate.
Yeah.
So is it this? Is behind the
Oh.
scenes with like Logan Paul, or some people like, fuck that guy. He just
well,
jumps right into WrestleMania.
But to be fair, like that's been like Snooki and all that stuff. Like if you watch the first couple WrestleManias, it's like Liberace's there, like movie stars, like Trump's there at a bunch of them.
But a little different than what Logan Paul's doing.
Very much different.
Yes.
But it
Even
also is
to the back in the Memphis territory of Jerry Lawler and Andy Kaufman. Like he was a team.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was always ongoing. You know?
Yeah.
It's so for me at first when we would do like we have no off season, we do all these months, and I'm like, I'm at like a middle of the card championship, and we're getting close to WrestleMania. And like, here we go, and they go, okay. Also this time, instead of all the people that we're fighting now, we're bringing back Brock Lesnar, The Rock, this movie star, and this other lady, and someone from a TV show. And you're like, and I wrestled on 11 months of stuff, and now for WrestleMania it's this. And I used to be like, this is bullshit. I can't believe this. As you get older and learn to go, this Snooki coming in means 10,000 times more views
Yeah.
than me having my
Yeah.
awesome match with my buddy.
Yes.
So you
Right.
slowly start to piece
It's
that
the
all
business.
together.
It
And you go-
benefits everybody.
Yes. And you go, everybody's winning from this, whether I'm a part of it or not. And you grow up and go, you have to welcome them in. Especially like Bad Bunny. There's so many guys in our rock group that was like, man, I don't know any of his songs. I didn't either. But I go, how many downloads did he have last month? Oh, 20 billion?
Yeah.
Yes. Put him in the main event. I don't
Yeah.
care.
40 million
It's
Instagram
like
followers. Yeah.
ridiculous. And he busted his ass to get good at wrestling
Yeah.
and he loved it.
Oh, he did.
So it
Yeah.
makes it even
Yeah.
cooler than that.
Super fan.
Yeah.
You know what's
exactly.
tricky is that like the Super Bowl have the special guest at halftime, and you're like, all right, they're not playing in the game. But in WWE, they are
The special guest quarterback for the first quarter. Yes.
Bad Bunny is
exactly. Bad
competing.
Bunny's quarterback.
Yeah, because
Yes.
Trump was at WWE. He's been in
Yeah.
WWE
Oh, yeah.
matches and stuff because him and
he's
Vince
great.
were close. Yeah,
I've seen that. He's great.
Ridiculous. Yeah, the first couple. I forget. I'm bad at remembering 1, 2, and 3. But like, one of them was like closed circuit and like at one of his Trump's hotels, or he was in the front row
Atlantic
for
City.
something. But it was always about getting somebody that everyone was talking about, having them
to
be on
get
the
views.
show.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's marketing 101.
100%.
And then how did comedy? Where'd you get the comedy bug? Obviously, you're an entertainer, so it's not that crazy of a crossover.
I feel like very much like we were into working out a lot, but also like at a young age. But it was also, I say this all the time, like joking around together.
Our dad had a solo flex.
Yeah, our dad did have a solo flex. Yes, and we put it to good work.
I always forget
awesome.
to mention that.
He did have
That
a solo
explains
flex.
your physique.
That changes everything.
That
yes.
explains
So what
it.
you do is 10 reps of 50. No.
Fuck yeah, you do. It's
It was
resistance
the
band.
resistance bands, and you can adjust them.
Yeah.
and,
And everyone said they eventually they wore
Well, the
out, but I never
Soloflex
know.
guy, in a lot of ways, from my generation, the Soloflex guy was literally the first like male physique everybody was talking about.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
was
yeah.
like Charles Atlas, all that shit.
Yeah.
But the Soloflex guy was a
that shit.
fucking trending phenomenon in the 80s. Bring out the Soloflex
Oh,
guy.
man.
It
That's
literally.
this guy?
What a babe.
Yeah, it was that guy. It was that fucking guy.
Was that sultry, the commercial?
That's our
Hard
dad.
Man,
Dad is our
Hard Man's
dad.
good to find. Yep, and when he's taking his shirt off, and all the girls, that guy, literally, that was the dude.
So that
And
is-
everybody's like, holy shit.
That's Don Nemeth, our dad.
Actually, it's almost getting
Girls-
ready for some.
Yeah, girls had that dude on. Back in the day, they would say things like, he looks like the Soloflex guy, right? Like, he was
Soloflex
really
guy,
muscular.
yeah. Hey, we
He
never
looks like-
had the fly things. You never got the
We
adjustable
we
fly
could not
thing.
afford the
Yeah.
attachments.
Yeah, it was the black and white.
That was extra
but
pieces.
it's funny because it was the black
Plus
and
shipping
white
and handling.
photos. Go back for a sec. It was the black and white photo. It was such a different time where he's taking his shirt off right there. That was that was literally.
And what's crazy
The
is
picture.
he's not like in today's
No.
standards.
He looks
you're
like a guy who-
It was the
he's in
opposite
shape.
of the
Right.
cover of Muscle and Fitness, which
Yes.
we would all read like, yeah, this is the guy.
Yeah.
Like, oh wait,
Like, that's
chicks want
Ryan
that
Gosling.
guy.
That's
Oh,
girls.
yes.
Girls
Yeah.
love
That's Ryan
that. In
Gosling.
high school, all the girls were like, "That's the body.
That's
You
the
gotta-
pinnacle.
And they'd say he's got a Soloflex body.
So
You're right. I'm serious.
You're
And
old school, dog.
It is.
Yeah, that's old
and
school.
that still image
Dumbbells
sold
ain't
more
gonna do it, man.
units.
You need the rubber.
yeah.
And then,
Stretchy rubber.
yeah, and then they would always sit in your living room and never get used.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Should we get some questions from a hardcore fan? So now, do you have any legit wrestling questions for them? She's actually hardcore. Me and Bryan are idiots.
Well, that's why you said Montreal Screwjob.
Oh yeah, no one makes
That's
Montreal
wrestling
Screwjob
there.
idiots.
No,
Yeah.
So Naz knows more about sports
And wrestling.
than
Yeah.
anybody. I know.
So my question is, when you
Boxer
kind
briefs.
of, it's for you, buddy.
Uh-oh.
I want to hear your real thoughts on the Spirit Squad.
Why? Okay.
Why?
So,
Because
okay.
it was a definite like, whoa, what is this
Okay.
guy doing in this?
What's
I
the
love
scenario?
this.
So to
It's one of my favorite wrestling groups
To
ever.
explain what this is, again, I was told, keep your hair short and don't get tattoos. First of all, a lot of people were getting tattoos at the time, whatever, it's fine. We had to like run those by the office. But they said, hey, one day, Kurt Angle, this could be the mentorship. And then it turns out, they go, hey, one day you're a caddy. And then a couple months later, they go, hey, now you're in a male cheerleading squad.
That is
And I go,
hilarious.
It's a weird angle.
I go, this is so
But
heartbreaking.
they're so easy to hate. They're the best.
Yeah, we
I
didn't
love
know
them.
that though.
Is
we
that
were
you
just,
on the right?
all the way on the right?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, right.
Oh,
That's
awesome.
and that's why they created it's like it's easy to hate.
Yes.
Like, it's going to create some sort of
Because
opinion.
In my young head, I'm brand new, so I don't know. I go, this is, my credibility is gone. No, don't Google me as the all-time winningest wrestler for kids. Say like, this is trash. We're just getting brought up to get beat up. I go, this sucks. And what was really happening was the boss said, oh, no one's gonna get more booed than these guys. Our first day, we couldn't talk because we were so booed.
Brilliant.
And I go, what a genius idea. But still, at the time, you're like, this is my career.
Yeah,
you don't
this
see
sucks,
like,
man.
I'm
Well, you have
screwed.
pom poms in your hand, for God's sake.
Pom poms, and we're just like getting beat up. But I go,
Oh, God, I can see you
couldn't
doing that.
speak because it was so loud, the boos, because everyone just, it was just like everyone hated it
Yeah,
before we did
I hate it
anything.
right
And the
now.
first two
But I get it when you're I totally get where you're like,
Oh,
this is my life,
heartbreaking.
and you're putting
Yeah,
on
heartbreaking.
this tank top
Yeah.
with these pants, and you have a pom pom and
Yes.
And a horn, air horn.
and a air horn,
Yeah.
and you're like, this is and what? It's like this is my life.
Yes.
I did everything right,
Yeah, I thought
mom.
it was going to be Kurt Angle.
Yeah. Hey,
then
mom,
you-
Kurt
Dad.
Angle winning the tag titles at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Nope, you're going to be in a green
And I assume the
jumpsuit.
other four guys are like, dude, what the fuck
We
do?
all kind of were. Actually, Mikey in the middle of that one on the right, smiling.
He's into it.
He loved wrestling so much that he embraced it. We were supposed to. He genuinely embraced it. We had to go take acrobatics class, gymnastics class. We could do like back handsprings, but it was all just.
The only thing that would
to
make
do
that worse is if you guys had to fuck each other.
Yeah, we didn't have to, but
Well, we didn't have to.
For the camaraderie.
And just smiling through it the whole
yes,
time. with
it
those
was.
big smiles.
Three of us were heartbroken because our dream was to, be fighting Triple H at WrestleMania for the world title. You can't live this off.
Well, you did fight Triple H and pay-per-views.
yes, that's true.
But dude,
Wow.
that's
You know,
tough.
as the
I feel
cheerleader.
bad for you guys. That's
Yes.
no joke.
The
So you
first
can
few
Google me
times-
all you want as the all-time winningest wrestler, but you see that face, and I'm like, I want to kill myself like this time.
Before they had matches, they were showing up once a week on each show for 2 minutes doing a chair. So
Yes.
you probably thought, am I even a wrestler anymore? Are we
No,
just
no,
the
this is it.
cheerleaders
I
on
go,
the
Bro,
show?
with the
Yeah.
most
My-
brutal script ever.
Worst.
Yeah, my
You're like,
first.
wait, do what?
Yeah. My first gig in Los Angeles, I'm on MadTV. It's a big deal. And I pitch a dumb character. I was doing this dumb character, and the writers go, say less. And they come back, and the next thing I know, I'm in a blonde wig with high-heeled sneakers and a leopard skin bikini, a Speedo. And I'm on national TV dancing as pool boy and
I love
asking
that
dumb
guy.
questions. Yeah. And like my father and the people I know, and they were all like,
Because you came here to be
Look,
like
there I
Al
am, there I am
Pacino.
with Pauly Shore. That's how I was dressed.
I love
That's
the
what I
pool boy.
did, and I
Yeah,
would
he's
shave my
great.
body.
He's good.
Yeah, but it's not. But
Pauly Shore's playing the straight
but
man
the
in that.
number of
I like
people,
that.
the number of people that.
Oh,
that
shit.
People loved it. Yeah, I have a really nice body. Yeah, but
You're
my-
the solo flex guy.
Solo flex.
That's the solo flex body.
Full circle,
and
dude.
the amount of gay because of my dong, because I would stuff my dong in that thing. The gay fan mail I got.
Hey,
especially
fans
from
are
jail.
fans, Bubba.
Yeah.
They're
That's
fans
awesome.
of fans. But I realized I did it. I never forgot. I was dancing and kicking and stuff and doing all this stuff. And because you thought
you were gonna be-
dance to a boy.
You thought you were going to be Daniel Day-Lewis.
No, it was yes,
Yeah,
yes,
of course. That's what we all
swear,
think. Yeah.
In my mind, I was like, I've lost. I'll never work again, and I'm a failure. And I remember when I remember Natasha Kinski and I think Quincy Jones were there, and they were there, and they were laughing, and I was so embarrassed, but I just went for it. And I remember the producer said, "Come here," and he hugged me. And I knew then it was kind of a hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it didn't dawn on me. I was like, this might be a hit, but like when you think you look like shit,
Yeah.
I was so
You were
embarrassed.
embarrassed, yeah.
My father was like, I remember my father was like 4 years of college, huh?
Yeah.
And I didn't blame him. I'm like, I don't know what to say about it. Because
like-
that back then, by the way, How many channels were there? It was 1996. There were like
There's
5 channels.
five, yeah.
Fox was new.
Everybody saw it.
So there was
Fox
a
was brand new. They
fifth
had The
one or
Simpsons,
whatever.
yeah.
Oh, and you as the cheerleader might have been thinking, I might wrestle for months as a cheerleader and then just be fired forever. And
Oh,
that's it. The whole- and then
100%.
it's-
Once it
Because
runs its course.
A lot of
Yeah.
times when stuff runs its course, and sometimes if the boss, if this was his idea, so we figured we'd at least be around for a while. But sometimes if he throws something out there like, hey, you're a pool boy now and you're gonna do this thing, and 2 weeks in, someone in the meeting's like, boss, this is dumb as fuck. And he goes, yeah, you're right. Anyway,
Fire him.
on to the next. And you don't know if you're fired
Wow.
or you're not, but it was just like, that's how. But it's like Hollywood. You
That's
might
show
get the
bu-
acting job.
It is show
Yeah.
business.
You might be a
Show
better
business.
actor than Brad Pitt, but he's getting the lead
And
and,
you
you're
never hear-
not.
and you
So,
never hear.
so then how's
Yeah.
it? So from the Spirit Squad, which is tough, from that goes so tough. From that to
So
what,
glad you
what
brought
was
that
your
up.
next character?
Dolph Ziggler.
So yeah, so
whose idea was that?
so that ends, and it abruptly comes to an end, and they shove us into a box and they mail it back to the training grounds.
Mail back
they're-
to the-
yeah. And I go, okay,
Ship
now
humans back.
I go, now I'm fired because I wasn't a legacy. I didn't have like a dad that worked in the business. I didn't have like somebody in the meetings rooting for me. So I go, I assume I'm fired.
Dude, you're awesome. Look at that.
I'm barely flexing there too. No big deal.
Nice
Solo-
body. Nice
solo
body.
flex.
Congratulations.
Solo
Nice body.
flex bot again.
Yes.
But dude, that's hilarious. Look
So,
at that.
so then you go from Spirit to this.
Yeah,
Like
so-
your real identity.
So
You really missed it. You're like, damn, I wish I was still.
I wish I was a cheerleader so bad. Oh my God. No.
Where's my 3 homies?
Yes. But the thing was, so we get sent back, and it's like, you're free to just sit at home if you'd like and hope for the best or pitch ideas. But I said, I don't know how this works. They might just fire me in a couple of months. Let me pitch them ideas. And I go, hey, can I fly myself in and go back to the school and just stay good and fresh on some reps? Just because I go, if I get another chance, I want them to want me as me, not some goofball character.
Yeah.
And I go, want them to need me on that roster no matter what. So first of all, showing them that you want to fly yourself into the school and stay sharp, that probably saved my job. Wow. And then
That's that wrestler
I
mentality.
wasn't even doing it to save my job. I was like, I can't sit down. I have to go get better
Gotta
at this
work.
right now. And so that probably saved my job. And then I pitched some ideas, and they said, yeah, okay, so maybe me and one of the other guys are pitched to be a tag team, because I was a year into training, so I still don't know what I'm doing. I'm a workaholic that wants to be good at this. And so it was me and another guy who'd been wrestling for 5 or 6 years, and he would actually been training me in between. And I was like, we pitch a tag team. All right, we're gonna be frat guys at a college, and we'll like do something. And they go, cool, we love it. We'll bring you guys in. I go, wow, this is great. And then a couple days, like 2 days before we fly out, we got an email that says, you won't be needed for the TV. We're canceling your travel. And I go, okay, now I'm fired. Like, that's it. So I said, I'll just keep training, and when the call comes, it comes. And eventually it didn't come, and I ended up
Eventually
doing.
it didn't come.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit.
That's a good sentence.
We're doing a Florida show. It's where NXT is now. Like, the training ground was originally Louisville, Kentucky. Now we're in Florida, and we're at a bar because we're so detached from like the Olympic training grounds that they have now. We're in a bar show, and it's a small ring like this, half the size of this, and every time you hit it, the ground, cigarette smoke goes up in the air. Like, that's how bad and gross it is. It's funny. So I'm doing a thing where I'm like a cool bad guy with a big giant guy who watches my back. And Cena came down, John Cena, to watch. He was helping us out to get like some butts into seats.
He was
for
a
little
big-time
show.
wrestler, John Cena.
Yes, he used to be a big wrestler before he became an actor.
Yes, we know.
And he's the man at the time. Still is, but like
Yeah.
at the time for the show, he's our guy.
Big boy.
And he says something like, "Hey, you should work on this and this." And I was like, "That's cool that he's saying this nice thing to me." A week later, I get called in to do a dark match before the main real TV show on Raw, because clearly something he had said and saw us do.
Shout out to Cena.
I get to do this. I get to do a dark match, and again, it's a different time to where they go, "You got 5 minutes to do this, basic as hell." And then while I'm out there, they tell the ref, like, we do all our stuff, we exhaust like a false finish, we're going to the finish, we're going to the ending. And they go, tell them they have 2 more minutes and to switch it up. And I'm
extra
scared.
time. You never get extra time.
I'm scared to death, but they're trying to mess with you. Sadly,
gap.
half the times it's just to fuck with you.
Yeah.
Half the time it's let's see if
Let's see how he
let's see if he can
responds.
make
Yeah,
something
I
happen.
like that.
So in a weird way, even for a second, I go, oh shit, what do we do? And I go, hang on. Hey, take this one thing, stay down. I'm gonna kick you and put this hold. Okay, got it. We did this thing, put him back down, put a hold on. We did this other thing, blah, blah, blah. Bullshit in the weed stuff that nobody cares about, but we keep it going and get down to some other finish to the end. 1, 2, 3, come to the back. And of course, they don't even say like, hey, great job moving on the fly, but there was like, hey, that was fine, thumbs up, and two bosses behind the scenes said, that was awesome. I go, I'm not that good. I just got lucky because I was scared to death because I thought this was my one tryout to go die or not. So we made something happen. So right there, somehow I let them know that I could be trusted on the fly. And most of the time, the job is we have the time cues, where everything's set in stone for TV.
It was an opportunity for you.
Yes, and that, besides Cena putting in a good word, I adjusted to the thing that they threw at us last second and was able to tell somebody in the ring and the ref and coordinate it all and have it all where someone in the crowd would never know that it happened.
And they go, we need more guys like that.
Yes,
And
100%.
your career's fucking born.
Wild, man.
That's great.
Hey, can I ruin the show right now and go pee?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got pee
thanks.
too. Let's
Go.
go.
Let's all go pee, yeah!
Man.
It'd be like the Spear Squad.
Yeah.
Let's take a little break because UFC 308 is live from Abu Dhabi. And we're doing a live JRE fight campaign with the OG crew, Eddie Bravo, Bryan Callen, Joseph Rogan, and myself. You can watch that, have some fun, and make bank with my friends at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the UFC. The featherweight title is up for grabs. The co-main event is fantastic. Hamzat, Robert Whittaker, Ilya Topuria, and Max Holloway. It's all going down this freaking Saturday afternoon. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something like simple, like picking a fighter to win. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your fighter, place your first bet. It's that simple. You got Robert Whittaker and Max Holloway as dogs. Not bad to parlay both of them to make some extra bank. And speaking of stacked, if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the code FIGHTER. That's code FIGHTER for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/MMA.
I'm going to be in Buffalo, New York, by the way, November 7, 8, and 9 at Helium Comedy Club. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Let me talk to you about O'Reilly Auto Parts. They offer friendly, helpful service and the parts knowledge you need for all your maintenance and repairs. If you're a guy like me who knows nothing about it, and you've got a car and you want your windshield wipers replaced, for example, or to fix a brake light or a quick service, they will point you in the right path. They'll do it or they'll point you to the nearest local repair shop. So, you can be a car aficionado or you can be a complete novice like myself, and the employees there can help you with all of your auto parts problems. So stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com/fighter. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/fighter.
God, how good are the fucking writers for professional wrestling, man?
Dude,
Maybe
awesome.
some creative.
Freddie Prinze Jr., shout out.
Yeah.
Freddie Prinze Jr. I think Will Sasso helped out for a long time.
Cheers.
There's a lot of guys.
You
Cheers,
know who the...
Right.
Cheers, Magic Mind. Try this.
Yeah.
It's a nootropic, gives you a sense of flow. This stuff is great.
I need
Shots of
flow. I need more
matcha.
flow in my life.
More flow.
It's good. We take these every day.
Who
This
else?
is a good
Who
one.
else is writers?
Friggin' one of my... Patrice was a writer.
Patrice
O'Neal.
O'Neal?
I wasn't there, and
Patrice O'Neal was a
it
writer?
was short-lived, but
He's a
everybody
genius.
talks about
That guy
it.
was
That's funny.
And then I famously hear like he doesn't write down stuff, like he just goes
Yeah,
and crushes.
he just goes, yeah.
And it was kind of funny that he was writing there, and he probably hated it because at the time it was there's been some rough times where it's like you kind of get chewed up and spit out, especially if you're a fan.
Yep.
I'm not saying he was, but I had friends who were like, "Hey, I got this interview for this job. I'm a fan."
yeah.
I go, "Dude, don't do it. You're gonna hate it." A couple weeks later, they're done, and they hate
I heard it's
wrestling.
tough.
It's like,
when
There's
Patrice
also
would do
different
stand-up-
time now.
Yeah, when Patrice would do stand up, all the other comics would watch, and it didn't matter who you were.
That's amazing.
And Patrice is like, I only spent like one evening with him, and I looked at Dove and I was like, how smart is this motherfucker? Like he was just his like whole thing on dynamics, male female dynamics, brilliant. But Patrice was a phenomenal
So
writer.
he was a
Absolute
super
killer.
fan of wrestling
So
too.
I would never speak for him and
They
say
just
that he
brought him
was,
in,
but I said
maybe,
I
yeah.
knew people that were, and I just this claim to fame that some people would be like, dude, you know Patrice? He wrote there for a little bit. And
Wow.
I read it somewhere. I was like, oh, it's a real deal. So I don't know if he's a fan or not, but I go, one of the guys that I think is one of the funniest guys of all time. And then comedians go, this, like you just said, people go watch him.
Yeah, dude.
Like, that's amazing. Like, how,
Dude,
what a great compliment
he was
to have.
phenomenal.
It's a killer,
And if
man.
he was alive today, he'd be selling out.
Dude, imagine if he had his own
Arenas.
podcast. Be a savage.
That's
because he was
would've
a
been
real
savage.
like fuck the man type of dude. If he had a podcast,
That'd be
you
awesome.
could let him rip.
yeah. He would have been. You're
Massive.
so right. Yeah,
He'd have like one bullet point on a piece of paper and then just crush
ran.
it. Just crush every
he had
day.
wisdom. He just
Yeah.
he just looked at
Super
the world
smart.
differently than anybody else. So he would say things and you'd be like, never heard anybody say that.
Yeah,
like I've never heard
right.
anybody
Right.
express a point of view that way.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I'm
so
done.
well.
I literally, I remember sitting with him and I remember saying to myself, I'm not a smart guy. I'm just not. I'm not.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah.
not. I'm of average intelligence and he's a different breed.
Yep.
For he's able to say like a gross, raunchy other side of the take that you can't say publicly,
Yep.
but also make it so funny and smart. And you go, oh, the way you said it, you're kind of allowed to say that because it's so effing good
Yes.
and beautiful and smart.
Yeah, because a
love
lot of
that.
comics will do this. Comics will say things that you can only think, and you're like, right?
Yeah.
That dude would say things, and you would go, I never thought of that, but
Yeah,
that's
and he's
true.
right. Yeah,
And
yeah.
he's
Suddenly,
right.
I think it's so true. I
Yeah.
agree.
What a killer, man.
Yeah.
I mean, a
Monster.
killer.
So
Like,
with your guys' rest schedule now, you're not. Are you? Like, I know you're in the thick of it,
Yeah.
but do you get breaks? Like
It's different now. Like since COVID, I was still with WWE for like a year or two after COVID, and it was like that grind was already down from 5 days a week minimum to 3 or 4 for some of us, and then after COVID, 1 or 2 days for some people a week. So because of that, so I, as of almost exactly a year ago, I work for TNA, but I've also worked for New Japan. I've bounced around to AAA in Mexico. I kind of get to do my own thing and also do dates with TNA, but I'm their champ. I love everything about that company. It's really good infrastructure with like people behind the scenes and
Shout
the
out
booking and the
TNA.
stores. Yeah, they rock.
TNA.
And it's a great show. It's on Access TV and the TNA Plus app, so it's a little tricky to find sometimes.
are you guys married? Kids?
I'm not.
I
No.
thought you were asking if we were married. I'm like,
We're just
we're
close
brothers.
friends.
We're just brothers.
Yeah. So yes.
Yes.
No, not married. No
Yeah.
kids.
It'd be tough. It'd be tough with that schedule.
I have
also.
so many people. So I'm 44. There's guys that wrestle like 26 sometimes, and they're like, "Yeah, I got 2 kids at home and my wife," and I'm like, I'm
How?
44 and I can't imagine that
Yeah,
because
how?
I go home and I go, man, I got 36 hours to relax. If I was like hungover and there's a crying baby, I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know if
It'd
I
be
can
tough.
handle that.
Yeah, it'd be
I
tough.
have a girlfriend, but she's an actor, so we both are like, we can't even have a dog. Like,
Yeah, she gets
might have
she
to
gets the
leave or-
hustle.
Yeah,
Yeah, especially if you're working.
Because you're both so dumb
Best-
that you don't know how to
we
feed
don't
it.
have. Yeah.
No, that's not what he meant. Best case scenario when you're an actor is like you're maybe home 3 months of the year if you're lucky, right?
Yeah, if
Yeah,
you're
It's the
working.
same thing. If you're
Yeah.
working,
Yeah. So
it's like
she's-
that's why couples when they get married, it's I would see this. I'd see like I knew a guy was married to a kind of famous person, and
Was he famous too?
he was
Or trying to be?
he was the kind of actor that you would see.
You
He's
can
a
only
good
have one
actor.
headshot in the household.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
And what would
one
happen
fedora
was,
per crew,
Yeah.
one
Yeah,
headshot
because-
per household.
yeah, because you're a fucking
Dim
in-
the rules.
You're in I don't know Italy doing a love scene with somebody even more famous. Your husband's back here doing some theater, some
Yeah.
off-Broadway production, and then guess what happens?
Yeah,
not
no
good
shit.
things.
Resentment.
Not good.
Well,
things.
no, or some fucking.
Oh yeah,
or some
he's with
fucking
Scarlett
goes on.
Johansson for 4 months.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or she's with so she's with some stud.
Yeah.
and they're doing love scenes, and then you haven't seen, and your man is doing a fucking play, and
Or
you're already
cleaning
a
the house and
psycho.
walking the dog.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck am I doing? Like,
I remember knowing. I remember saying to this actor, I said, you did scenes with, and he's like, yeah. I said, and he goes, yeah, and that happened too.
Yeah.
And I go, and she was married. And he goes, she was. I don't feel good about it, but she didn't give me any choice. And I was like, this fucking business, bro. That's what happens when you
Yeah.
want to marry somebody delicious who's super famous. Sometimes I can. Oh,
On a
there's always a price. There's always a
lighter
price.
note, I'll say.
Oh, sorry, buddy. This is giving you.
No,
people-
but you guys, this is gonna be
I'll
great.
say
You guys are different.
Yeah.
You guys
she's
are
in
different.
she's in way bigger things that I will recognize it, but like wrestling is just so pervasive, right? I am not anywhere near the level he's at in wrestling. Like people know you on the street wise, but she'll be like, "Oh, I'm on this commercial. no one recognized me from my TV show I'd been on for 2 years, but they keep asking me, are you dating Ryan Nemeth? And she'll be like, so fuck you. I'm like,
That's so good. Yeah,
It's like
but
the grip
you
guys, like the guys, the TSA
yes,
guys.
exactly.
Yeah, limo drivers, TSA. I love it.
Those are our fans.
Like we just
Yeah, love them all.
went to a Halloween party this weekend. And it was like a bunch of like known horror people and some famous actors and whatever. They posted the gallery of photos, and she texted me the comment, "Oh my God, Ryan Nemeth was there."
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like,
So good.
Yeah,
That's
what's up, girl?
That's what happens to me. I'll be in like Calgary and some cop will be drive by. Brian! I'm like, fucking yeah.
Yes.
I haven't been on TNA TV in 2 months, probably, but like,
But you
What
know,
TV show's your lady on? Can you say?
yeah. Well, she was on Gotham Knights. She's on the upcoming Final Destination. She's been in a lot of scary things. She's I don't know if I'm allowed to say the next one up, but it's huge. She's a horror movie usually actor. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
But
I watched a bunch of horror
But
movies.
she always
I
looks
wonder-
different. She has brown hair, blonde hair,
What's her
whatever.
name?
For Anna Laurie.
Anna Laurie?
Yeah.
Bring her up, Chin.
But you always gotta, if you're in movies and TV, you gotta have a different look all the time. Your characters, whatever. But in wrestling, Dolph Ziggler, long blonde hair.
Yeah.
Ryan Nemeth, Bart Simpson haircut. I don't know, whatever.
Bart Simpson.
Oh, she's,
that's-
there she is.
That is not.
That's her on the far right.
The one at the far right.
Dude, she does change
stage name is
characters
Mary
a lot,
Gordon.
man.
Her stage name is
She
Mary
really
Gordon.
stands out.
Lore. Sorry, yeah, that is so funny.
That's
dude.
pretty amazing.
That's so funny.
Just so old
That's
school.
her.
There
yeah,
we go.
jeez.
Oh, cool.
Oh, adorable.
I like
too
the
bad-
other one better.
Too bad about her looks. She's got to work on her looks, huh?
Yeah. What was that other chick? Bring her back.
Look at her. She looks scared there.
Actually, that's kind of a perfect mix up
what-
of all the
that's
different
how
looks.
she's
Like,
always
how did she
looked,
even
yeah.
have that planned that way?
Wow.
15 different looks in 14
Go to her
pages.
There's side
IMDb
boob
from
right
each
there.
in?
Oh, yeah.
Overalls.
Yeah. What was that?
Amazing.
That's
Oh, wow. She's in that movie.
Oh, and a new TV show, Hysteria. She's on. Yeah, I forgot about
Dang.
that one. But have you ever seen the smoking or the non-smoking commercial where the girl rips her face skin off? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I have.
Yes.
That's her.
That's where she's.
Oh, that's her.
So when people always ask, they'll say,
Driving
"What
me
has she
I
been
know
in
from
that I
some.
know?"
That's it, huh?
I always say that. And she's like, "Stop! That's not my biggest thing. It's like 11 years ago." I'm like,
Yo,
"Yeah, but that's what
sorry,
everybody has
that's what we
seen."
know.
That's what we remember.
The face rip, but she's an awesome actor and has done a lot of other cool things. But the face rip.
That's cool, man.
No, the face rip.
That's super cool.
It is, man. Well done.
All right, Chin, what do you got for us?
First, I don't know if you mind or not, but can we cover the Nate Diaz drama on this show? You already did it on.
I would like to cover it.
I would love to cover it.
I mean, I just think it's you
at
know,
that pillow. Is this
the right pillow? Yeah.
I just think that, I mean, I'll read it. So Brendan is very close to Shane Carwin. Shane Carwin's having real problems with CTE.
He's doing better though. He's getting some help.
Yep,
and
but
he
Shane
has
has
something in the
posted
works.
about it.
He's doing better. Yeah.
And Brendan is very close to him. Brendan off air has always loved Shane. Shane's a great guy. Shane's a family man. Shane's an electrical engineer. He was a UFC champion. There's a lot of good things about Shane. And Brendan was talking about it. And Brendan's like, I call him the weeping giant. He's very emotional.
Yeah.
He's crying about it. And then Nate Diaz says, Brendan, the big old pussy shop. Now, I just want to say this. Nate's a fighter. And Nate knows, he understands fighting. And he's MMA royalty. He's put it all out there. And to me, it's interesting that he would poke a bear like Brendan, because I don't care who you are. If you weigh 155 pounds and you're in the UFC, I don't care when it is. I don't care if it's right now. If that dude grabs a hold of you, you're going to die. It's true. And so Brendan has been kind of dealing with a lot of that hate from even Nate. I think he challenged you in a way. You were wearing Gucci boots.
At Showtime?
At Showtime.
In hindsight, I should have whooped his ass.
You were
there.
wearing Gucci boots.
I didn't
but
want to lose
you're
my
so
job.
much
I
bigger,
should've.
and you were doing the thing, and you go, I
I don't want to come off as a bully either.
Exactly. And you're always afraid of coming off as a bully. And I think finally you're like, fuck all this. I'm done with
That's
this
because
shit.
I don't need like, with comics, with fighting, like I don't have to work a job for the UFC. I don't need to get passed at the Comedy Store. I don't need managers like me. I don't need the community to like me. Those days are done.
You've also, it's not even why you didn't fuck with people. Your personality is, I could probably smack you in the face or punch you in the face and you go, Brian, stop doing this shit. But for real. Like I've gotten in your face before, and we've had arguments where I've got, I have a bad temper, so I'm in Brendan's face. He would pull my head off, but he's not doing that. He's not even thinking that. It's not where his brain goes.
Right.
But you
Nor
know,
do I want to do it with Nate either.
I know you
I have
don't.
no issues. I backed him up when they were trying to feed him to Hamza. I'm like, what the fuck? You remember
No,
that whole
I know.
one rant? I'm like, this is not the way you treat Nate.
This is not how you treat Nate, and that's what bummed me out. Is because you've always been in Nate's corner. You've always said good things about Nate when he, not publicly, like you've always admired him for being the fighter he is. He's got that fighter spirit. And then this is where you go, ooh, buddy, I probably got 20 pounds on you. Now you got a lot more than 20 pounds.
He walks right. He's not. So you said 155?
He's 190.
No, he's not. No.
I've been with him, 190.
I have to.
Yeah.
Anyway, he fought Jake Paul. He's well over 200 right now.
Oh,
Damn.
okay. Well,
So
either way.
you can catch these hands.
Yeah, but either way, I probably got 20 pounds on you, so not too far off. I'll snap your neck, set up a grappling match, and let me know how it goes for you. Have one of your handlers read this tweet and get back to me.
I like the handler
And-
part.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a good.
Yeah.
good one.
And the reason you said a grappling match is because obviously a punching or MMA match would be a very bad idea.
Correct.
But you know,
And he fancies himself jiu-jitsu guy. So
Sure. And if you read the comments, a lot of people, almost everybody, is backing you on this. Because I think it was just uncool, and I think Nate should apologize to you, like as a
he definitely
person.
wants not in him, right? But
I don't get why the
elephant.
animosity.
Yeah, it's just the elephant in the room. It's weird. Like that's tough guys don't talk shit on social media. Like that doesn't make you a badass, dude. Have you ever seen me talk shit to anybody
No.
on social media?
I just
have I ever started any of this?
No, but I just don't get. I don't get that. That was surprising to me that he did that.
I need to see these Gucci boots at some point.
Oh, they're
They've been
lit.
referenced
Yeah,
several
they're-
times
oh, dude.
today.
They're out there, zippers with corduroy on them. They're sick.
I mean, they scream, I bang guys.
yeah,
and
it's something the Spirit Squad would have wore.
Yeah,
They're sick.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just thought that was the first time I've ever seen you be honest.
Yeah.
And I've ever seen. I mean, in terms of
Enough's enough.
like enough's enough. Where
Enough's
I was
enough.
like, you don't get to treat me that way.
No, I'm also not hard to find. I'm all over.
Yeah.
So my and I said this on the shop show. Like, if he wants to roll up 1-on-1, whatever you want to do, bud. He won't though. He won't. He always rolls with a posse. But like I said on the shop, there better be 5 to 10 of you. If you just come with 3 or 4, you're gonna get fucked up, dude. And that's the truth. And I don't want to do it. I'm not looking for. I'm a father of 3. Dude.
You're not apologizing though.
Oh no! I'll fuck you up, and then still take Tiger to practice and not even think about it. I sent that tweet. I'm like, okay, cool. Then I went to Tiger's practice. Then I spent all day at the baseball fields. I didn't even think about it. Shows up. Okay, cool. I run 3 miles every day. Work out every day. What are you gonna do, dude?
It'd be a bad situation.
It'd be a nightmare. But he knows that.
I think he knows that.
He knows that. That's why he's poking the bear. But I don't get why. Like, go look for a fight you're gonna get. I'm not gonna fight you. Unless you want to, and then all right, you force my hand.
Yeah.
But again, talk to your boys. Ask them how it would go for them. They all know. One of his coaches I trained with for a long time.
He has
one
no
of his
idea.
best training partners I've rolled with. Ask him how it went. Figure it out, dude.
Yeah.
Or just talk shit online.
I was just
and-
gonna say the safest bet is just put a couple posts out there, then
Yeah.
you're fine.
I'm just surprised.
Again,
was
I
just
don't want
surprised.
any.
I was bummed
I don't need
about
any
it.
drama.
It just bummed me out. It was
Nothing surprises me anymore. Nothing
It
surprises
sucked.
me.
I was like,
Well, if it was about something you can take a side on, but this is just you basically had compassion for someone else.
Yes.
and
Yeah.
That's not. No one's backing him up on that.
No,
You know what I mean?
yeah. But it's what kids do these, and he's too old for this shit. Like, it was a younger fighter like coming at me. I'm like, I get it, bud. You're trying to make a name. I get it.
Yeah, that's why it was
I've been in the
just
space a long
surprising.
time.
I
I
was
get it. You can get views off it. That stuff didn't bother me. I wouldn't respond to it. I'm like, I get the game. He's old, man. Like, he's old enough to know better. It's like, that's the algorithm. Talk shit, get it going out.
Yes.
Get the views.
It was
He's too
strange.
old for this shit.
yeah, it was strange. I didn't get it. It bummed me
And
out.
end of the day, you're gonna do nothing. You're gonna do nothing. That's how this goes. He'll do nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you want, not hard to find. I'm all over, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. I
We'll do
like
nothing.
I like this new version of you, Brennan.
It's not even. This has always been there. I just don't talk about it.
Yeah. No,
Wish a motherfucker would.
Yeah. No, it's true. You're still a fighter.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like,
Remember the last time you were at the gas station? You saw those horribly branded erection pills, like Rhino 5000. They're tempting. I know they look cool, but do you ever take a second to see what's actually in those products? They're awful for you. Same goes for the products that you get for prescriptions. They're not good for you. There's something natural backed by science. I'm talking about Joy Mode. It's a sexual performance booster like a pre-workout, but for sex. It's a sexual wellness product. It's actually good for you. All you do, open up the sack, all right? Drop it in some water, consume it 45 minutes to 4 hours prior to doing the dirty, and you're good to go. This stuff is actually good for you. It actually works. So if you're ready to spice things up in the bedroom and boost your sex game and do it naturally without the nasty prescription drugs, boy, do we have an offer for Fighter Kid listeners and viewers. Go to tryjoymode.com/fighter. Enter fighter at checkout for 20% off your first order. That's tryjoymode.com/fighter for 20% off your first order. Let's get back to the program. Oh,
It's
yeah.
like I remember there was a guy who was a jujitsu guy, and he was being insulting, and he just kind of pushed Brennan to the point where it was like it was a thing, and Brennan just finally went, hey, I'm a fighter, so just be careful now. Like for real, like you're a jujitsu guy, you're really good, but I'm a fighter, and there's a difference.
Yeah.
So in pro wrestling, we say you've been repackaged as a new character.
You're the heel.
I got repackaged.
I wouldn't
I'm
mind-
still babyface.
Still babyface, just
I wouldn't
harder.
mind you. I wouldn't mind
Just
you
another
taking-
layer to you.
Another layer.
Character.
Yeah, fun
I
story.
wouldn't mind. You're pretty good at talking trash. I wouldn't mind
Yeah.
you the heel. I wouldn't
Yeah.
mind if you just changed as the heel.
Just start talking shit.
Yeah, watch your music cues around me, obviously.
It's just,
'cause I don't
it's
give a
just
fuck
not my,
about it.
it's exhausting.
I know. You don't like conflict. I don't either. I don't stay mad. The problem with you and I is we don't stay mad. I just don't stay mad. I'm
No, if Nate walked in right now, I was like, "What the fuck, man?" And I explained to him, he's like, "Oh, I get it." I'd hug him.
Of course.
I wouldn't come at him violently right
No.
away. Nah, that's not my thing.
No.
It takes
I've always
that
been a
little
fan of
effort
Nate's.
to explain something that you probably shouldn't have to explain.
You would think,
don't think
you would think
so.
my friend's really suffering, and he has 10 friends that are suffering. You think like,
Right.
Shab makes sense with that, man.
Yeah.
I'm not saying let's hold the UFC's feet to the fire and Dana's feet to the. No, it's not their issue. This is a much bigger issue.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about one particular case who's a very close friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, can we maybe help this guy out? That's it.
That's
Yeah.
it.
All right. You want to fight me over that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you worry about CTE. It's also like everybody who fights and played football for that long worries
I
about
don't,
that.
though, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't. I feel like it would pop up by now.
Right. I agree.
I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Well, that stuff
That stuff's going to help.
helps, yeah.
I'm like BJ
magic
Penn.
mind.
I don't
A
believe
little
in CTE.
massage to your
Listen, Magic
brain.
Mind keeps
Massage the
keeps
CTE away.
I'm not going to make any claims, but I like it. So
I think John Cena also said he doesn't. Was it John Cena who said he doesn't believe in CTE?
John Cena's smarter than that. I would. Did China make him say that?
He maybe said it, 20 years ago.
Well, John
And
did.
I don't-
I
Yeah,
think
but you can't hold anybody's feet to the fire like
yeah.
20 years ago.
Yeah, I know it.
Like I didn't believe in it 20 years
Yeah.
ago.
No way.
And I for sure
think-
should
I
have.
think-
I'm sitting next to him on the
Stone
plane when
Cold.
he's
Stone
walking.
Cold.
Stone Cold, you said
Yeah.
it. My bad. Stone Cold said I'm not a CTE.
On that Vince documentary.
Stone Cold's old school, man. You can't hold those guys accountable. Like he's old school.
He's watching Concussion with me on the plane. He's watching it on his laptop.
news.
And he just keeps doing this. He's looking at it. And I was like, listen, I just see him go like this. He'd go. And I look at him and he'd go.
Bro.
And then go back to the movie. I'm like, oh,
pointing at it.
Jesus. And then we come off the plane and he's like,
Fuck. Oh yeah,
I
we're
start
doing
taking more
shows
fish
together.
oil. Yeah,
We're
yeah.
doing shows
I got to
together.
take more fish oil. I'm like, all right.
Fish oil. Yeah.
He says to the doctor, do you think, because I played football for pretty much my whole life and fought for 10 years, and do you think I have CT? Doctor goes, 100%. 100%.
100.
So how much Jamba Juice do I have to take?
You're going to take a lot of Magic Mind.
We were doing one concussion seminar at a wrestling company, and they were showing footage of like, here's where probably a concussion was. Here's,
Oh,
and
God.
someone in the clip was in the company from it was like a I'm not gonna name names.
Yes.
But he stands up and goes, well, maybe he shouldn't have been doing this, and then they start fighting with each other and then fighting with the doctor. And I'm
God.
like, this doctor is trying to help us not. Have
Yeah.
massive, dementia next year.
Yeah.
And you're defending that you had to kick that guy.
Yeah, sorry.
And it's a video of
Had to
him
do it,
kicking
bro.
him.
Hey, wait,
We're like,
missed the
this is
point.
the problem.
Yeah.
This right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And we were all just like, also, this meeting is going to be longer now.
Yeah, dude.
That's the part that
Yeah.
pissed me off.
Yeah.
5 more minutes of the
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's a
shit to
tough
do.
thing. Like with you guys with wrestling, and then with my UFC history and football, it's got like. I don't know what you do. It's just part of the game, dude. It's like what you sign up for. Some guys have it, some guys don't. The majority don't. It is a thing that you sign up for, and there's a possibility that it happens.
And
You
there's
know?
ways to avoid it.
There's smarter training, but
smarter
sometimes you
training,
can't
yeah.
avoid
Yeah,
it. Like
sometimes, yeah.
some guys are just prone to it, and then a lot of guys, it's like
If you're a boxer,
they didn't start off on the right
boxing,
track
yeah.
in life. Like some were born with their wirings all fucked up, and they blame it on fighting or football or
Well, drugs
wrestling.
and alcohol don't help. Like a lot of times.
But again, that they could be wired that they were wired. They're
You
addicts
always have
before
the
they
option,
came in.
like, is a steel chair going to hit me directly in the face and head or somewhere over here?
Yeah.
We know now.
Now, to be fair, before we had any of these talks, when I was in the Spirit Squad and I'm fighting Shawn Michaels and Triple H, I'm like, here we go. I'm taking it on the head because that's what I saw my favorites do 15 years earlier. And then we got to a point where we're like, oh, we're doing a show that's choreographed. We can get really good at having it swing toward a head and shoulder, but I could turn it this way and I could put 90% of the focus on the shoulder and the crowd
Not the
sees
brain.
it. It's like that is the art that we're doing. When we're getting punched in the face 20 times, 4 of them are going to be real sometimes, so that's part of the deal. But to be really good is to make that happen to where I've gone to the back and my boss goes, I said no headshots. What the hell? I go, might want to check that back because I'm just really good at my job now.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Now that we know what we're doing. But before then, I watched Mick Foley and Rock and Stone Cold. Every night, they just over the top of the head. And I go, my turn. This is my dream.
Yep.
And it's now I don't ever want that again.
It's also a great thrill. I've only had this a few times. You probably have a million times where the referee or your opponent will whisper like, shit, are you okay? Are you okay? And you're like, yes, I am.
I'm
But thanks for
100%.
asking.
That's always fun.
Oh,
But going to the back and having the boss go, what? And you're like, I'm just doing my fucking
how
job
good-
better than everybody else. Sorry, brother. Yeah,
I was
anyway.
faking
Why is that other match in the main event now that I'm done? All right, got it. Okay.
So
Got it.
That's my favorite part about wrestling.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, the whole thing is an illusion for the crowd, but if that illusion crosses over into the people in on it,
That
that's
know
the best.
how it's made.
It's so hard to work the guys on the show, and you can get them sometimes. Not on purpose. You're just trying to do your job great.
Yeah.
And you have to have some of your best friends or the people who watch go, man, are you okay? And you're like, yeah.
Hell
So
yeah.
I'm thinking of the thing you and I did when I was in NXT.
Oh, God.
Can we tell you it's something top secret?
Yeah. Hold on, let me get my hand on my pants.
Yeah.
yeah, perfect. Every Wednesday was promo day with Dusty Rhodes, American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, legendary.
Yes.
You know, the best guy to be teaching promos. But
Possibly of all time,
Of all
yes,
time,
yeah.
yeah. But I got really sick of doing wrestling promos of, hey, next week, whatever. So I treated every Wednesday as like, well, Dr. Tom, who's the head trainer, gave me like all this Andy Kaufman stuff, like DVDs, books, and all that. He goes, this will be your guy. I'm like, okay. So then I I wanted to do something pretty good, you know? So I said, hey, next week, instead of a promo, can I do a thing where we call my grandma live and like just say happy birthday because she just loves wrestling. She loves the women's wrestlers. And so I had all the girls.
Like her, 90th birthday or something?
I don't know, man. Yeah, something like that. And she's in a nursing home and it'd be really special. And then Dusty was like, that sounds great. His assistant was like, let's get the technology. We'll connect your phone to the camera, you know, the speakers, whatever. So I tell these girls, all the divas at the time, women wrestlers, will you guys dress up real nice? I'll wear a suit. And I got the helium tank for balloons. Like, I'm going all out for this birthday thing. And so they're like, this is so adorable. Great, let's do it. And so I go up there and say, hey, like I said, I'm not doing a promo. We're going to do a special thing for my grandma. And so the phone is connected, hardwired to the arena sound system. It rings. This is live. There's 80 people on the roster watching this. And a voice that's not my grandma answers and goes, hello. I said, oh, is Patricia Wendling there? Is my grandma there? Who is this? And it's like on the speakers now, and the girls are like, what the hell? And I go, oh, it's her birthday. This is her grandson, Ryan. And he says, hold on. All right, now I'm getting a little uncomfortable because people are watching this. And the voice comes back and goes, are you the next of kin? And I'm like, well, hang on. No, her son would be, but I'm the grandson. This is Ryan. What's the deal?
Oh my God.
And the voice then says, this is whoever, you know, the doctor, whatever. She had a massive event and she's, unconscious. And I go, what the fuck happened? I yank the cord out and scream and like leave. And like the girls start crying up there and they're just standing there holding balloons. And the voice on the other end, I will reveal to you now, is Nick.
Yes.
And
yes. Well done.
And I believe you said you put a grocery bag over the phone to disguise your voice or
That's
whatever.
hilarious.
Well done.
So I go outside and I'm like yelling on the phone, and then the head trainer comes out like this and he goes, you better leave because I know if my grandma died on the phone in front of everybody, I want to go home for a few days. And I go, thank you. He goes, good work. And then
Oh, my God.
I thought like, fuck yeah, dude.
That's
great.
so
The
awesome.
That's cool.
When was this?
Were those girls pissed? The divas pissed? Or they get the business?
You know, months on end, everyone would say, hey, we're so sorry that happened.
Very good. Excellent.
So if you're listening and you were in NXT in 2013, sorry.
So funny.
Yeah.
That's great.
But to me, that was wrestling. I thought, this
Yeah.
is what it's about.
Wait, has that aired or this is?
No, that was private
Let's do it.
for the roster. That was just like, you know.
That's great.
But to me, it was every week of like, how can I do something like that?
Yeah.
Because anyone could do the body slams and jumping.
Yeah,
and
that's
whatever,
cool.
Like the important
Finding
part,
something real that you can make more real
Yeah.
or something or into a real thing. Like it's
There
like
you go.
tricking the
Even at
guys
the
you work
expense
with.
of your
and
grandma.
going, oh, this is real. We got him. It's Andy
all right.
Kaufman
Yeah.
mixed with being good
Yeah.
at your job.
Grandma's
Yeah.
die, you know.
What else you got,
Maybe
Jim?
it's a good
Massive
run.
cardiac event. She didn't die.
Event, yeah, it was
She
an
had
event.
a massive cardiac event. By
That's
the
great.
way,
I knew some good
well
knots.
done, Nick. well
I-
done.
Not to say she's dead or
Proprietary
heart
blend.
attack.
Well
the doctor wouldn't
done.
say heart attack. They would say
Yeah.
cardiac
Yeah,
event.
event was the word.
That's great.
Do you guys actually have a hard out? Or are you guys good? It's 11:40-ish right now.
What time's the next
We
one?
eventually have to be in Glendale at 2:30, but
We're okay for a minute.
Just give us like two more, Jim. Yeah.
I'll start with that one.
This one?
Yeah. So I found this pretty cool clip. It's like the first interviews a ton of these
this is
UFC
great.
stars had, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to look at it.
Give up? Like, what is that? Like that, if you give up, you certified a loser. If you try, you at least
He's such a kid there.
16.
Bobby Finley.
Okay, do you have a fight nickname?
My coach calls me Bobby the Bobby Finley.
Probably the Whoa. So you got a message for your fans, your family, or for your opponent?
Nah.
What does it mean to you to be representing your country in the
Everything. I mean, I set a goal in front of me when my daughter passed, and I said I was going to be on this Olympic team, and I was going to go get a medal, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to let her down.
Dana White, president of the Ultimate.
Oh wow.
Oh, with hair.
He had hair there.
Feel good.
Thank you very much, James. I appreciate it. We're very excited. We got a sellout crowd here, 5,000 people, revved and ready to go.
Thanks, Bruce. I'm back here right now.
Again with hair.
We'll be interviewing the fighters as they come out of the octagon, and
Wow.
I'll be previewing the fights, the final fights in each weight division.
Shouldn't even give up.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
I really like the earpiece being the size of like a Beats headphone on the
right?
side of his head.
Old
Everybody's voice
school.
was so high.
Yeah.
I like the Eminem dyed bleached hair.
Right?
Sick.
Here's one more, guys. So SeaWorld's always under a bunch of controversy, but the Orca show had a little extra added love to it the other
I love
day.
that I saw this already.
And there's a video to show you what happened.
Oh, there you go.
And then he's gonna come back up and
nice.
splash everyone.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Little fish poo.
And that is a peaceful protest, and I
Yeah, yes. Respect it.
And there's all that poopy water.
Right over the top.
Well, they warn you that's a splash zone.
There you
Yep.
go.
It must have done it on purpose, though, right?
There you go.
Yeah, he's probably sick of all
Yeah,
that bullshit.
Yeah,
God, I
had
love
it known.
How can I get my voice
Yeah,
out
he's
there?
like, God, how
Shit
can
on
I
the
get out of
audience.
here?
You can't verbally communicate, but
Yeah.
From here on out?
Yeah.
But I can shit at you.
Because he had it, left it there,
Yeah.
swam around,
Swam
came
around.
back, and went, here we go.
Oh, man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Good for
Yeah.
him.
Well, you know, when you're swimming in the ocean, that's just fish poop everywhere. So why not in their tank? Yeah. I
That
mean,
it,
that's not a
Chin Chin?
fish,
That's
but-
it.
Yeah.
Fellas, this was fun.
Yeah, well, Dad,
the
thanks for
Nemeth
having us,
brothers.
guys.
The
Jeez.
Nemeth Brothers podcast.
Oh yes, it's the next big thing.
Yeah, it is. Hell yeah, it is. Hey, listen, don't be surprised. We've had a lot of people on this podcast before they were, and then they become rather large. So
Eventually get their own
we're good luck.
studios.
We're good
Yeah,
luck. Yeah.
nice.
Where are you guys doing it out of now?
Sometimes we do it together in LA, but usually we're in our own places, zooming in.
Zoom?
But-
Depends. Yeah, we're flexible that way.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well,
But
wish you
also
guys
we-
the best, man.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah,
guys.
appreciate
Yeah,
it
thanks
so
for having
much.
us. That was
Yeah,
just
keep
freaking
killing
awesome.
it,
It's
man.
great being able to.
Keep killing it, brothers.
Anytime.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Got a
Thank you, guys.
standing- You got a standing invite.